Ladies and gentlemen of the Galactic Council, I must confess, humans are peculiar creatures. And today, you're about to find out why. The voice echoed through the grand chamber, capturing the attention of every delegate present. Hundreds of alien species, each more unique than the last, turned their gazes toward the central podium where Henry Carter, Earth's first representative to the Galactic Council, stood with a confident smile. We're the species that once thought attaching wheels to a wooden plank was the height of innovation. We're the same people who invented something called a selfie stick because holding a camera was apparently too much effort. And yet, here we are, standing before the finest assembly of civilizations in the galaxy. A few chuckles rippled through the chamber, though most of the delegates, especially the more stoic species, remained silent, observing with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Henry didn't mind. He knew he had to make an impression, and humor was his weapon of choice. We humans, despite our quirks, have one thing going for us, our relentless optimism. We see the stars and dream of reaching them. We face insurmountable odds and say, why not? And today, I'm here to say, why not humanity? Henry's opening remarks were met with polite applause from some of the more open-minded delegates. Encouraged, he launched into a speech that was equal parts heartfelt and persuasive. He spoke of humanity's resilience, their ability to adapt, and their burning desire to contribute to the greater good of the galaxy. He painted a picture of Earth as a planet brimming with potential, eager to learn and grow alongside its interstellar neighbors. But as he spoke, a particular delegate grew increasingly agitated. The Zarnath representative, a towering insectoid with gleaming black exoskeleton and multifaceted eyes, shifted uncomfortably in its seat. The Zarnath collective was known for their rigid hierarchy and strict adherence to tradition. They valued decorum above all else, and Henry's informal tone was grating on their sensibilities. Henry, oblivious to the subtle signs of discontent, pressed on. "Now, I know what some of you might be thinking," he said with a grin. "Humans? Aren't they the ones who nearly destroyed their own planet with pollution and war? And to that, I say, guilty as charged. But we learned. We changed. And we're still changing. Isn't that what growth is all about?" The Zarnath delegates' antennae twitched. For them, change was not a virtue but a sign of instability. Yet Henry remained blissfully unaware, his focus on winning over the crowd. So, in the spirit of friendship and cooperation, Henry continued, "I'd like to extend a gesture of goodwill." He turned to the Zarnath delegate, who happened to be seated closest to the podium. "To you, esteemed representative of the Zarnath collective, I offer my hand in friendship." He extended his hand toward the Zarnath delegate, a gesture that on Earth symbolized trust and camaraderie. But in Zarnath culture, physical contact was deeply sacred, reserved only for the most intimate of bonds. To touch another uninvited was an unforgivable offense. The chamber fell deathly silent. The Zarnath delegate's eyes flashed a brilliant red, a universal sign of anger. It emitted a series of high-pitched clicks, a sound that sent shivers down the spines of those familiar with the species. The delegate rose to its full height, towering over Henry, and turned to leave the chamber in a dramatic display of outrage. The ripple effect was immediate. Other delegates began murmuring, their voices rising in confusion and alarm. Some interpreted Henry's gesture as an act of dominance, others as a cultural faux pas of the highest order. The carefully orchestrated meeting descended into chaos. Henry, realizing his mistake, stammered an apology. I didn't mean to offend. I was only trying to." But his words were drowned out by the growing cacophony. The council's presiding officer, a serene being composed of pure energy, called for order, but the damage was done. The Zarnath delegate's departure set a precedent, and several others followed suit, their gestures signaling solidarity with the offended party. The meeting was adjourned abruptly, leaving Henry to grapple with the fallout. Back in his quarters, he replayed the events in his mind, searching for a way to salvage the situation. But the reality was clear: humanity's first foray into intergalactic diplomacy had ended in disaster. Before the meeting, Henry Carter was not just any diplomat. He was a man who had clawed his way up through the ranks of Earth's burgeoning space relations department. Born in a small town in Kansas, Henry had grown up fascinated by the stars. As a child, he would spend hours with his telescope, dreaming of alien worlds and the possibility of meeting beings from beyond Earth. His passion led him to study astrophysics and linguistics, eventually earning him a spot on the team tasked with humanity's first contact initiatives. Henry's selection as Earth's representative to the Galactic Council had been both a surprise and a controversy. Many believed that a more seasoned diplomat should have been chosen, someone with decades of experience in navigating delicate negotiations. But Henry's unique blend of scientific knowledge, charisma, and unshakable optimism made him a compelling choice. He had a knack for connecting with people, or so everyone thought. In the months leading up to the meeting, Henry underwent rigorous training. He studied alien cultures, memorized their customs, and practiced delivering speeches in multiple languages. His instructors drilled him on the importance of decorum and the potential pitfalls of cultural misunderstandings. But despite their best efforts, there were gaps in his knowledge, gaps that would prove catastrophic. The fallout from the disastrous meeting was immediate and far-reaching. On Earth, news outlets dissected every moment of the incident, replaying the footage of Henry's ill-fated handshake on a loop. Social media exploded with memes and hashtags, some mocking humanity's blunder, others rallying in support of Henry. The incident sparked heated debates about Earth's readiness for interstellar diplomacy. In Washington, D.C., the president convened an emergency session with the Space Relations Department. "This is a setback," she said, her tone measured but firm. "But it's not the end. We need to learn from this and come back stronger." Scholars and scientists took her words to heart. Universities established new programs dedicated to xenology, the study of alien cultures. Linguists developed advanced translation algorithms, while anthropologists worked to compile comprehensive databases of alien customs and traditions. The goal was clear: to ensure that humanity would never again commit such a grave faux pas. While Earth reeled from the incident, the galaxy had its own reactions. The Zarnath Collective, unsurprisingly, demanded a formal apology and reparations for the perceived insult. Other species, however, were more forgiving. The Threxians, a race of aquatic beings known for their love of humor, found the whole situation amusing. "Typical humans," one Threxian delegate remarked. "Always stumbling, but always getting back up." The Galactic Council itself was divided. Some members argued that humanity's banishment was too harsh, while others believed it was necessary to maintain order. Behind closed doors, debates raged over whether humanity should be given a second chance, or whether they were simply too unpredictable to be trusted. Henry Carter's personal journey mirrored humanity's larger struggle for redemption. After the incident, he resigned from his position and retreated to a quiet life in the countryside. But he didn't give up. Determined to make amends, he began writing a memoir titled "The Handshake Heard Round the Galaxy," in which he candidly recounted the events of the meeting and the lessons he had learned. The book became a bestseller, not just on Earth but across several allied planets. Its message of humility and perseverance resonated with readers, sparking a movement to re-evaluate humanity's place in the galaxy. Years later, the Galactic Council invited humanity back, not as diplomats, but as observers. A new generation of leaders, shaped by the lessons of the past, took the stage. Among them was Henry's protégé, a young diplomat named Alara Chen, who had trained extensively in alien cultures and languages. As she addressed the council, she carried with her the hopes of an entire planet. "Ladies and gentlemen of the Galactic Council," Alara began, her voice steady and confident, "we are here not to plead for a second chance, but to show you how far we've come. Humanity has learned from its mistakes. And we are ready to prove that we belong among the stars." The chamber fell silent, and for a moment, it seemed as though history might repeat itself. But then, one by one, the delegates began to applaud. Humanity's journey was far from over, but for the first time in years, there was hope.